Okay, so one of the most requested things I do in our family is, I tend to do it around Christmas time to be fair, but now we've got lots of time because we're all locked down, is to do smoked salmon. It's basically, well, the way I do it is I do a cured salmon, then I smoke it. If you do cured salmon, it's going to take 2 to 3 days. If you want to smoke it as well, add probably half a day to a day on top of that. I cold smoke it. Very, very simple to do, but honestly, try this, okay? Even if you do it with a small piece of salmon, I mean, I'm going to get a lot of cured salmon out of this, half a side, but it disappears in no time at all, and it's so much cheaper than buying like smoked salmon, which is like really expensive. So the ingredients you're going to need are obviously you need some salmon. I've just got this pre-packed half side. If you can, go to your fishmongers and just ask for a side of salmon. Sometimes you get a whole one and the guy will like cut 2 halves out of it. It's like really easy and relatively cheap, I think, for the amount of what you get back out. But I say this is just a pre-packed side of salmon and really easy, 850 grams, so that'll give us a load of stuff. I've then got a curing element, which is the salt and sugar. We're going to mix those together. Then you need stuff that are going to flavour it. I sometimes use beetroot, which gives it a lovely colour. When I smoke it, however, sometimes I don't put the beetroot in, so that's why I'm not going to put the beetroot in this time. But you can add slices of beetroot as well. I've just got some mustard on here, and a really important element though is dill. So that's all you need to get started.
Okay.
Okay, so essentially here I've got my salmon, and what I'm going to do is essentially, just to give you an overview, I'm going to basically put a load of salt and a load of sugar around this, along with some dill and some mustard, and then I'm going to stick it on a plate here. I'm going to wrap it in cling film, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge for 2 days. That's literally it. I've got the salmon here. What I need to do is I need to very quickly. Literally, I mean, this couldn't be simpler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just chop up this dill a little bit, okay? And before I do that, I'm going to get some mustard. Don't need loads of mustard, but you see, just a little bit here. I'll do the whole fish. Get yourself a brush, okay? I know loads of people don't get brushes, but trust me, they are really, really useful, okay? I know it's a bit poncy and chefy having a brush, but it can be really, really useful. So you'll see I'm putting mustard on this, okay? Simple as that. Then I'm going to quite simply just sprinkle my dill over the top of this, okay? Now again, you might now think, that's not going to make much difference just sitting on the top there. But it really does. It just over the couple of days that it sits there, this dill just permeates, and it doesn't give it strong flavour. There's no real strong flavours here. It's all just very much a hint. And what it does is when all the liquid gets sucked out, it all mingles together. So I've got that. What I'm then going to do is I need to get some salt and some sugar. What I tend to do is I tend to have a slightly more sweet cure than a salt cure. It's kind of personal preference, but what I tend to do is I need enough salt that's going to go underneath this fish and then on the top of it and then be wrapped around it. So I don't need tons and tons, but I do need a fair amount. So I've kind of got, what's this, 1 kilogram. So I'm going to I'll start off with maybe about half of this, okay? And then I'm going to have maybe about 400 grams of salt, okay? Now, I wouldn't normally mix it in that, I need to get a mixing jug for this. What I'll do is I'll just, and you want to basically just make sure, okay, it's all mixed up, okay? Put that back in here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, so I've got this plate here. I got this years ago from TK Maxx. It's got a chip on it, that's why it was cheap. And what I do is, if you have any kind of roasting pans or something like this, this works perfectly well. I'm not using this because I'm going to use this tomorrow for something I'm going to cook, so I don't want to stick, because I know I'm not going to be able to use whatever I kind of use for this for the next kind of few days. So you'll see that I've done a layer of cling film going across with. Okay, so I've got my 2 layers running that way. What I now want to have is a 3rd layer running the other way, okay? And you'll see why I have those layers running that way in a minute, so that I can roll it over easily. So you'll see I've got 3 layers. I've got 2 either side and then 1 going, so 2 going that way and 1 going that way, okay? As I say, don't scrimp and save on this bit, use plenty of cling film. And then I'm going to put a layer of the salt down, okay, salt and sugar mix, and kind of nice even layer, simple as that. And then I get my salmon, very simply, and I put it on top of it, okay? What could be easier, okay? Pat all that down, and then I get the remaining salt, and do this, okay? Now anyone that tells me that's difficult is just like fibbing, okay? Make sure all the salmon's covered. Then what I'm going to do is, I got these, I'm going to try and maybe wrap the end bits over, okay, like that. And then I'm going to wrap the pieces that went this way. I'll wrap them over, just like that. And then get this side, put them on top. And you should end up with a kind of fishy type parcel. There we go. That's it. It's that simple, okay? That then goes in the fridge, okay, for 2 days. Now, obviously you'll be going in and out the fridge. If you are looking at this and it's seeping liquid out, because what happens is the salt and the sugar draw out all of the water out of the salmon, and that's essentially what is curing it, and that's why it will last longer. It's like the old method of drying out and curing things. But what happens is it sucks that water out, and because of that you will then potentially, if the water isn't held within this cling film, it will then sit on the outside of you. If you want to take that away, okay, and then drain off that liquid, because it's, you know, it may be getting up to the edge of here, then do that. That's absolutely fine. The salt will just constantly keep drawing it out, okay? I will leave this in the fridge for 2.5 days, absolutely no problem whatsoever. And when that's done, we'll then get to the next stage. Okay, so the salmon has now been sitting here for probably 2.5 days. You can leave it 3 days, you can probably get away with 2 days. What you will see is that there is liquid. So what's happened is that the salt and the sugar have leached out all of the liquid, and you can see that's what around in the cling film. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this cling film off. I'm going to take the salt and stuff that you can see and everything off it. I'm going to run it under a tap, so I'm just going to be left with pure and simply cured salmon. So I'll just do that now and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay, so I've taken, this is basically the cured salmon. I've taken all of the salt and the dill and the sugar off this. I've just run it under a tap. You'll see it's still a bit wet at the moment, okay. Now, you can eat this just as is, to be completely honest with you. I could just slice this up and this would be absolutely lovely. The one thing I would do is, I've got some maple syrup here. I'm going to, you can put some maple syrup on it and then just leave it again, just wrap it up in some cling film, leave it for a few hours, and then you can cut it thinly, and then you get that sweetness on top of the salmon, and it'll be absolutely lovely. I, on the other hand, I'm going to take this one stage further, because I'm now going to cold smoke this. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of this maple syrup on here. Again, I've got my infamous brush out. So, and the reason I'm putting a little bit of syrup on now is because I read somewhere that if you put the syrup on now and then you smoke it, the smokiness will actually stick to the outside of the fish. So that's why I'm putting some of this on now. So it'll be a little bit sticky and stuff, but that's going to be lovely. I'll just very quickly as well explain. I bought off Amazon one of these little smoking boxes, and I just put that in my barbecue, and you'll see later on that we light it up and then we leave it, and it very slowly, very clever, just goes round here. Doesn't really heat up the barbecue at all, but it leaves, it needs to be a kettle barbecue, and then you'll get all the smoke that's just flowing around it, and I'll just leave this overnight. So there'll be a tiny bit of smoke comes out, but you know, you can't even smell it half the time. And then when you wake up in the morning, your smoked salmon is ready. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll show you putting this in, and then you can see the final stages as we get ready to have a smoked salmon. Okay, so I've got the smoker started now, and you'll see that just starts with the tea light. And I'll just remove that out of there. You've now just got it smoking. That will literally sit for the next 8 hours and give enough smoke to give the food, or in this case the salmon, a lovely flavouring. I'm just going to put the top back onto the rusty barbecue. I'm going to it's on the surface there, and that's not going to make much difference. So you'll notice that I've got the thing on the maximum opening for air, both in the bottom and the top, and that sits there for 8 hours, and we'll see what we've got in 8 hours time.
Okay.
Morning everybody. So this morning I went out to the barbecue after leaving the smoker on all night. It goes for about 9 hours on that smoker thing, but it can then just sit, because obviously we're in winter at the moment, so it's fairly cool outside. And basically this is what it looks like. So you can see it's definitely, the texture's changed. It smells very much all smoky. You can see on the back is still the skin, and essentially that's now ready. Now I have to tell you that I haven't tasted this yet, as you can see, but I can tell you it is going to be absolutely yummy. So to prepare it, all you do once you've got all this, you can obviously wrap it in cling film, put it in the fridge until you need it. But essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this as thinly as you probably can, and I'm now going to taste a piece, and that is absolutely beautiful. So granted, 3 days work, but you've again got tons and tons of smoked salmon. Again, do it preparation for a party, whatever, and this is got to be the easiest and tastiest thing. So that's it. I suggest everyone should do it. You don't have to smoke it obviously, but if you just cure it for 3 days and just leave it, then you'll get a lovely taste as well. So that's it. Definitely try this one.